Hi, I'm Deekshit, a student pursuing PGPM at IIM Trichy. I'm going to talk about unemployment in India at large. If you look at data, Indian labor force increased from about 337 million in 1991 to around 488 million in 2013, an expansion of 151 million in labor force in roughly just 22 years. But whereas the employment level fell short the labor force throughout the period, creating a consistent gap between the two. Employment in India witnessed an increase of 470 million in 2013 as compared to 323 million in 1991. Between 2000 and 2010, 64 million jobs approximately were generated in India. On the other hand, labor force participation witnessed an increase of 72 million in absolute terms. The disconnection between economic growth, skilling, education, and jobs is growing. This is an alarming situation since the futures India's workforce is expected to potentially increase. The reason for the decline in India's employment, especially in the organized sector, is due to the relatively low and almost constant share of manufacturing in the country's GDP. Also, the employment elasticity, which shows a percentage change in employment due to percentage change in the output or GDP, seems to be declining. If one compares the GDP growth rate and employment growth rate, a distinct divergence can be witnessed between these two series of data. GDP growth rate increased from 4.98% during 1983 to 1993 to around 8.7% during 2005 and 2010. But employment growth rate reached its lowest level, falling from 2.04% during 1983 to 1994 to 0.37% during 2005 and 2010. Usually, high economic growth is associated with high employment growth in common wisdom, but in India's case, it's the other way around. Given the decreasing trend in employment elasticities over the years, it becomes imperative for us to study the employment elasticity in primary sector and secondary sector. Primary sector being the agriculture sector absorbs bulk of the workforce, but due to the stagnant productivity and other factors, the ability to create new jobs waned in this sector over years. There is gross deterioration of employment elasticity in primary sector. As a result, primary sector cannot support any new job creation as of now. On the other hand, secondary sector, which includes those economic sectors that create a finished usable product and hence depend on primary sector industries for raw materials, have witnessed a continuous increase in employment elasticity, though the increase has been marginal. During the period 2011 and 2012, elasticity in secondary sector was 0.68, which means that almost 70% employment generation is possible for 100% increase in output or GDP for this particular sector. Precisely the reason policy and other economic boosts for secondary sector are needed to revive employment generation. But on the contrary, nowadays in secondary sector, high mechanization has been proven to be very efficient because of the disruption in technology, but due to high mechanization, employment is also going down. So this is the flip side of the focusing on secondary sector. Now, if you look at an interesting trend in employment, particularly which is true for Bihar, Odisha, etc., there has been a drop in number of people seeking jobs. Roughly overall in India, though the number of unemployed is about 400 million, those seeking jobs was just 25 million. Now, if they are not looking for jobs, what are they looking for? One, they could be reskilling themselves by joining education programs, or they could be entrepreneur as well. But if they are not doing either of these two, well, it could be a disastrous trend for India. And promoting inclusiveness, public employment generation programs remain major instrument. With a view to enhancement of the efforts for creation of jobs, the Government of India has enhanced budgetary allotment for anti-poverty programs and employment generation schemes. Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act is the world's largest employment generation program during 2016. About 5.12 crore householding totaling 235 crore person days have been provided with the employment, and of this the distribution is about 56% for women, 21% SCs and 18% STs. The amount allotted for this is the highest in the year 2018. During 2017, 3,000 crores have been allotted to Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana, National Rural Livelihood Mission, and 52 lakh households through 4.5 lakh new self-help. For the urban poor, self-employment scheme has been set up to give credit at subsidized rates for skilling people and wage employment. Government has now extended the scope of National Rural Livelihood Mission from 790 cities to 4041 towns in the country. Till now, about 8 lakhs beneficiaries have been skill trained, 4 lakhs persons have been given employment, 2 lakh self-help groups have been created, 2.5 lakh self-help groups have been given the bank linkages. To meet up various demands, of growing Indian economy, skilled labor force is necessary to hit the benefit of demographic dividend. Sector-wise study by National Skill Development Corporation estimated the additional human resource requirement by 100 million for 24 high-priority sectors by 2022. Need of training is estimated to be 126 million by 2022. For this requirement, the government passes on short-term skill training through Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana and long-term skill training through industrial training institutes by setting up model skill centers at district levels. The spotlight currently is on increasing the quality of skill training programs and making job-oriented training targets. Let us look at some more solutions which government should focus on. Controlling population, creating awareness about the benefits of population control among people, increasing the number of vocational education institutions and encouraging the youth to get suitable professional education, encourage and motivate the rural and urban youth to become entrepreneurs and support them to build new industries, motivate and train the farmers to adopt better methods of agriculture, increase the financial facilities and sources to agriculturists so that they can adopt new technology in agriculture, increase the financial facilities and sources to new entrepreneurs, encourage the unemployment youth for self-employment. Though government has introduced many schemes and programs for providing employment and skilling of labor, it perhaps need to focus on their efficiency through continual evaluation. At large, unemployment continues to be a priority concern which India has to tackle with. Thank you.